Hi everyone, welcome to Quantum Art with Wendy from the Indigo Doors. That's me. Today I am going to talk about the painting that I channeled for March of 2024. I called it The Promise of Abundance. And when I say I called it or I named it, it really is a co-creative kind of process between me and spirit. So here's the painting, and I'll have it up the whole time I'm kind of talking so you can kind of really witness what this painting stands for. You know, the energy of March of 2024 was pretty intense. There was a lot of there's been a lot of energy shifts. I'm creating this video about 3 weeks into the month. Partly so I could have integrated with the energy and I really understand what it is that Spirit's wanting me to share and embody. You know, a lot of this is new information and new stuff. So with that, you know, I need time to process and I need time to kind of help people integrate these energies too. And the only way to do that is to do it myself first, to really understand it. So that's what I'm doing, and this is when I feel comfortable kind of sharing the messages of this painting and of this month. It's an interesting thing because these are teachings, more or less, about how to embody this new earth frequency and how to kind of be this new modern human in a way, this new spiritual being in human form, with these kind of ideas around, you know, all of these teachings that Spirit has kind of been sharing with Brenda and I for honestly like over a decade or so, and preparing us to kind of share these energies and teachings about how to integrate more of who we are. So this painting is about that. It's a new energy, so you can feel it right away. It feels like spring, and though it is obviously spring equinox is in March, but I don't do that intentionally. I literally sit down with a clean slate. I create a ceremony and I'm just kind of shown what to draw and what to create. And it's interesting to me that it was very springy, and because it's not always the case. It has a lot of the times these paintings have nothing to do with the seasons at all. So, in some ways, I feel like that's symbolic, and they're telling me in this moment of the alignment that's happening, right? There is an alignment that's happening within our energy field. I feel like this painting really is this new energy, this bright, beautiful, like what spring represents, which is like a new bounty, which is new beginnings, which is life. And so, in some ways, this being in alignment, so there's like this opening, because when things align, there's this opening, almost like this bridge between things. And it's interesting because this painting truly is about accessing higher realms. Whenever I create a vertical painting, it typically is a lesson or a teaching about how we as human beings can connect with higher realms. Like, I don't know this and I don't do this on purpose. Like, this is just ultimately what ends up happening. So it's a beautiful magic that happens to me. And it's just a reiteration of what they're trying to share with me. And then I share with you. And so this is a vertical painting. So it's about accessing higher realms, and it's all about mastering the self. And so, whenever I have a horizontal painting, it's more about being human and how to integrate that into humanness. Where this is about, let's access this other dimensional plane. Let's access this new earth. Like, the portal is within us, and that's a huge message this month. We are the portal. We are the connection to the star mothers. We are the connection to other worlds. It's us, it's through us and the earth. I mean, the earth is the biggest portal of us all. But also, really, the message is let's master the self so we can access this other world. You know, when we have this relationship with ourselves that's in harmony and in balance with the frequency of love, what ends up happening is we start expanding, and we really like the frequency of our authentic selves vibrate at such a frequency that it really does attract anything and everything you could ever want. Now, when you're at that level of mastery, you would never create anything that's destructive. You would never manifest anything that would create any disease or conflict, or like anything out of malice. Because to even get to that space of being, it's like it's hard to comprehend that way when we're still dealing with surviving. So if you're surviving, you're like, oh, people are going to abuse that power or whatever. It's because you're personally still in thriving. If you experience that energy shift within yourself where you really start to learn how to love yourself, you never would, because everybody outside of yourself is a reflection of yourself, and you would never want to cause harm to yourself out of love for the divine light that's within them and within you. So it's like an awareness shift. It's almost like you don't understand until you're there. Though I think conceptually you can truly understand it, and people have had these experiences and moments, right? So let's kind of break down this painting a little bit, and that's what the intention of this video is, these quantum art videos. It's like really breaking down the painting. So you can really, because every single thing is meaningful, has purpose, and has a message and a teaching within it. So you obviously have a woman on a tree. Okay, so that really is about this energy, this divine feminine energy that's available to us all, not just within the planet. The planet is also shifting into holding more feminine energy. Well, in some ways it's always been in balance, but we're able to see it more because we're shifting into more balance within ourselves. So this divine feminine energy. And what is divine feminine energy? Divine feminine energy truly is about mastering the self, of knowing thyself. If you have two parts of yourself, let's say the divine feminine, the divine masculine, and what is that? That is the Christ consciousness. That is the divine heart. That is what the Christ consciousness talks about. So it's a mastery of both. And the divine feminine is knowing thyself. Like, you need to know who you are. You need to know where you come from and that you are a spiritual being. That is the divine feminine's job. If they had a job, it's the knowing, right? It's the love, it's the unconditional love. And though that is also with the divine the divine masculine, it's really important here to understand that you need to know thyself, and it's the divine masculine's job to lovingly back it up. So in some ways, the divine feminine is the compass, and we will get to a point in our own evolution where we no longer kind of break things down in a masculine and feminine way, because it's kind of silly. But because we're still kind of in this rudimentary kind of functioning, we have to break it down into these simpler forms. But eventually we'll get to a place where it doesn't matter if you're masculine or feminine. It really is just this Christ consciousness, or this wholeness that you exude. So this tree is this tree of knowledge. So it's an expression. It's like your spiritual tree. So it's about knowledge. It's about, it's like a whole truth, trees are. So in some ways she's coming out of the tree. She is the tree. And it's also this connection with Mother Earth and this partnership, meaning it's so close where we are and where Earth begins, right? It's just such an overlap. Like, you can see her feet are in the roots. So is she the tree? So there's this kind of reiteration of her dress kind of being part of the tree, in the crinkles of the tree. So I was hoping to really kind of give you this idea around she is the tree, and the tree is a part of her, and she's kind of coming out of the tree. So we are of the earth, and we need to really remember our partnership with the earth in that way, and that everything is alive, and everything that is alive, it has consciousness and has light within it. And really kind of embodying that. And so here she is, and she has flowers in her hand, and she has a flower dress on. So the flowers that are on her dress are mimicking the flowers that she's holding. So in some ways, she's really integrated her flowers, and her flowers represents her essence, and her essence is her authenticity. So the authenticity here, so her own personal authenticity, so she knows who she is. So the question is this month, do you know who you are? Do you, in every sense of the word, and then do you allow yourself to embody that authenticity in every way? And so it's really about mastering that, really getting to know, like that's important here. They're saying we need to begin to understand what authenticity means for you, and it's going to be different for everybody. But if you can imagine a people or a planet where everyone is operating within their authenticity, we would naturally create balance. We would naturally create harmony, because not everybody wants to not everybody wants to be a writer, not everybody wants to be a painter. Like, we're going to naturally create harmony, because those that want to go create buildings are going to be allowed to, and those that don't want to but want to interior design them, they can, right? We can't do everything despite our current cultural's kind of influence. We're not meant to. We're meant to kind of follow our heart and do that well, and kind of allow ourselves this kind of flexibility, this true flexibility. That's partly what these wheels are, that are kind of above her head and kind of down below. One is near her shoulders and her head, and the other is near her hips. And so it really is about this flexibility of movement, and this flexibility, not of just the head, right, but the flexibility of thought. So needing both the flexibility of thought and the flexibility of movement. That's extremely important in this new earth frequency. So are you flexible in your thinking? Are you flexible when it comes to allowing yourself to be free in all ways? Meaning, today I want to be a painter, tomorrow I might not want to be a painter. But here's the crazy thing. If you've been listening to our podcast, we talked about this already. Whatever's meant for you will come back. So, meaning, I've had to let go of painting in my own personal life a couple times, several times, many times actually, where I've questioned it. And sometimes I've said no to it, said, I can't do this right now. But what ends up happening is it always comes back, because it is my true authentic expression. So, what you like, even if you went away and I tried sculpture, let's say, it's okay. It's still creative expression, but it's not my thing. It's not like my storytelling that I'm able to do. So really, you have to trust it, right? There is this trust element in your authentic expression, and really showing up for yourself. And that's really, like, this whole painting is about really being present in the now. Like, she is still. Though she's looking off, kind of reading the wind, she is very still. And so she kind of embodies the stillness of knowing thyself before she takes action, knowing what to do. She knows. And she freely kind of expresses this beauty, this inner beauty that she has in this dress, right? But it is kind of like your essence. And your essence it's really what you would offer like a lover, like who you truly are. But could you be a lover to the planet? Can you be a lover to life itself? And that within that energy is also vulnerability. So can you be vulnerable and expressive and that open on a day-to-day basis? Now, we've created a culture where we're not really safe to do that, but we're part of this new earth, and shifting into this like modern human energy is bringing us back to this. Because truly, this has the most strength and the most protection. So it offers the most protection and the most strength. Our vulnerability does. So she's kind of wearing her vulnerability, her essence out, right? But humbly, not even like she's just is, right? So it's this beautiful reminder of just allowing yourself to be free and to flow. So, and then you can see where she's standing. She's kind of standing with no shoes on, so in some ways very natural, right? Without any protection, because she doesn't need protection. All of her needs are met, and everything and anything is possible, right? That's the message here. All your needs are met and everything is possible. This is available to us now. We have to believe it. And once we believe it, it creates it as so. But what comes first, the chicken or the egg? I'm telling you, all of our needs are met and everything is possible. Everything and anything is actually happening for your highest and greatest good. Even if it's shadow stuff, right? It's just showing you what needs to be loved. We've talked about this a lot. But back to the painting. She has all of these chakras are highlighted. Now, we've known this for thousands and thousands of years, this chakra system. It's old, but it functions well, right? It rings true still. This chakra system has been around for thousands of years, like I said, and it is about breaking down the human in a linear way. But the body itself is here to help us, just like the earth is, and that's why she's part of the tree. But our physical body is here to help. It's our partner. So it really is showing us where there's imbalances, because when we are aligned with love in every sense of the way, with our superconscious, our consciousness, and our subconscious, when all parts of our being are in alignment with love, then we start harmonizing. All of our chakras then are aligned and kind of functioning at the frequency they're meant to. And so when they're not, though, they will show us. So you might start having hip pain, or you might start having knee pain, you might actually have shoulder pain or neck pain. Those are all things that are helping to show you that there's belief systems or there's behaviors within you that are not aligned with the frequency of love. And so there's lots of teachers and people that have helped with this process, where they have shown you, and they'll talk about the emotional symbolism of these diseases in the body, and even diseases themselves and what that represents. So this painting is about kind of having an awareness of all of the functioning of your being, all of your chakras, right? And aligning that with the frequency of love, harmonizing them, getting them functioning well. And each area has its own kind of system. So you have to kind of educate yourself on that. If you aren't already. For some of you, you totally understand what I'm saying. And so this isn't new to you. It's really about just kind of putting all these pieces together. That's what this is about. Because we're meant to kind of expand further than our 7 chakra system. We already are aware of our energy system and how it's, we have our higher selves. We even have other. We're way bigger. Just like with a cell, you can go straight in really small, or you can zoom out really big. Same thing with our energy system that you might not see with your eyes, but that exists on different planes. It keeps going out. And so as we expand consciously, we literally have access to these other worlds. So once our chakra system is in alignment, and we do feel safe everywhere we go, we are our authentic self in every situation always. That doesn't mean that bad things don't happen or things that don't align with you happen, right? It just means that you now have this self-mastery to where you choose consciously how to react or engage with people, places, and things. Right? And as you master the self and you know these things, they're saying that you have access to these 3 other dimensions. And it's interesting because we have purple and blue outside of orange. We have this green world with this kind of outside of red. And then we have this yellow with the kind of little light purple kind of around it. So in essence, it's the opposite colors, the complementary colors of each main sphere color. So in that way, it represents balance again, but balance and balance and balance 3 times full, 3 times continually. And so it's about your word, right? It's about your heart, and it's about your creativity and your passion. Right? That's really from a human perspective, that's what it's bringing life to. Your voice, your creative expression, and your heart. And all 3 of these areas, and it makes sense, our throat is a portal, right? This is how we actually speak out into the world, how people can really see what we're feeling and thinking on the inside. So it is a portal. Our hearts, they say, is an actual portal. They say our heart is actually tapped into and connected to the quantum realm. And so it can feel and understand vibrations that no other part of our body can. It has its own kind of brain and function. And then we have our lower womb space, which is, again, another portal where we bring life into reality, actual physical matter. So it's going to be in those three areas where you're going to make the most major difference. And that's what they're saying is like use these three spaces. Once you've aligned yourself to the frequency of love in all of those spaces, and we're all works in progress, right? But then utilize this energy, this frequency into creating what it is that you desire and what it is that you want. You can see these three circles above her head are on the part of the tree, but notice part of the tree is in winter, so there's no green within it. But then also outside of that circle is the tree in bloom. So in some ways, what the message here from Spirit is that we're always whole. The idea of seasons and moving from winter to spring to fall to summer is really illusion. Like the tree itself is whole, but because this planet works in a linear time frame, it really slows it down to where, but if you could speed it up, it would literally just always exist. I guess the question would be, what does it always exist in? That's kind of deep. Does it always exist then in winter or summer or spring or fall for you? Right? It just is in some ways. And so, that's really profound to me. It's just partly always saying that you're whole. So even if you're in a phase of your life where there's winter, or a phase in your life where you're really moving through shadow, you really are whole and completely in love on another plane or another level of dimension. So another dimension, period. So in some ways they're kind of breaking through that illusion, right? Breaking through that illusion of saying, remember who you are, remember that you're whole. The top part of the painting is about really learning how to tap into these ethereal, not physical planes. So really utilizing those three areas of our bodies to manifest what it is that we want. In some ways, they would say how you bring down the clouds or how you kind of bridge spirit. So what it is that you're really desiring in your heart, you speak it, right? And following your joy is going to be the fastest frequency to create what it is that you want. And that's what they're saying. Find your joy, find it and follow it. That's your path. That's your compass, right? That's your divine purpose. And as you're in that frequency, it's going to kind of really create life for you. And that's also why that life is on the outside of this inner circle. So once you kind of from nothing, from winter, right? You have these three kind of spheres. You manage these spheres in the way that I'm saying, it literally creates life instantly. And then as you're kind of doing that, this mastery up top in this ethereal world, spirit world, because everything truly is just spiritual, how you bring that down into the trunks and root it into physical reality is really going to be about trusting your flow. And that's why you have a tortoise and a hare kind of ideology down here. But it wasn't just that. But let's talk about the tortoise and the hare kind of energy. So it's really about trusting your flow. And remember, we have to be flexible here, meaning we have to have an awareness and wisdom in regards to moving too fast or moving too slow, finding a balance in between it. So really understanding the doing space, like being balanced with that. And personally, if you overdo or if you underdo, you personally know that when you go to your heart. Where are you with it? And sometimes it's a balancing act. Sometimes we're overdoing or sometimes we're overbeing. And we're kind of oscillating back and forth until we get it right. But just noticing yourself, this balance between doing and being. But also in regards to this energy of this flexibility is really just honoring Mother Earth. I mean, the Mother Earth energy is really strong in the turtle, right? In our connectivity to the water and the land. Not all turtles are water turtles, but really understanding just honestly the sacred design, because they have the sacred geometry in the back of a tortoise shell. And so really understanding that we're part of the sacred design. So really kind of trusting, we don't have to work so hard. We're going to get it right. Just trust yourself. And this hare also represents vulnerability. So, rabbits are kind of scared a lot, and they can move quickly and they can act out of fear. So kind of balancing that, and the way to balance that out is through our vulnerability. So really kind of making sure that you're checking in and checking in with your vulnerability. Like, are you being vulnerable? And vulnerability means, are you really authentically expressing what your heart feels and thinks? Right? That's the vulnerability. Even though it might feel scary, it actually becomes less scary the more you practice it. And then we have this red and blue reiteration that Brenda and I've channeled in other paintings, and it's really like I have. I'll show you here. It's like this being, this older crone with this red and this blue eye, because they were really trying to show us that how we perceive reality is really shifting. We've been channeling different information about how we're going to see color differently. We're going to see reality differently pretty soon here. As we keep practicing these things, how we see reality itself is going to change. Just like, we're red and blue glasses, right? Those are 3D glasses, right? And so in some ways, it makes something that is two-dimensional looks three-dimensional, like the illusion of it. So in the same way, they're saying that the earth is changing dramatically in that same way. We're changing how we can perceive and even interact. So it's no longer just 3 dimensions. It's going to be the 4th and 5th dimensions that we're going to really start acting in. And that's partly why they say it's a 5th dimensional expansion. But it's not even an intellectual process. And honestly, the more we intellectualize this 5th dimensional expansion, the farther away from experiencing it we become, because it really is an embodiment of this painting. It is like this painting, but you're really actually being it, right? We're not talking about it, we're being it. So as you're being this painting, you're starting to walk in a world that's going to become a lot more dimensional. That's what they're saying. And it's something that you have to experience for yourself. It becomes extremely magical. You start attracting everything and anything you ever could want and need for yourself. I mean, we're already naturally doing that, but it's going to be a lot different. And you see there's like light language around the red and the blue, and there's actually light language around all of the chakras if you looked closely. So there's that. So this light language is basically language and energy from other realms, these higher realms of these sentient beings and places where we're seated from. And it's here to help us, right? It's here to say, hey, remember, there's another way, there's a gentler way, right? Let's not struggle, right? Let's create a world where we're at ease and at peace, where tranquility, truly, and balance and harmony are words that are effortless, coming out of our mouths, coming out of our beings. It's just a way of life. Where right now, tranquility and harmony, we have to work towards because we're so much in survival. So really working on tranquility and peace, I mean, that really is our birthright. For me, even personally, because of trauma and other things and just overdoing and having to survive, tranquility and peace, my body thinks that there's always a problem because I had been in so much fight, flight, or freeze. So it's been this process of saying, nope, all is well. This feeling of peace, there isn't a threat. The feeling of peace itself is not a threat. Everything is okay. So it's humorous partly, but it is a process. So if you've experienced trauma and you're still moving through some of those layers, I totally get it. All right, lastly, remember, this is a synopsis of this new modern human. So this is not by any means meant to make you feel bad or give you a list of a ton of things to do. It really is a video you can come back to just to kind of realign yourself with a remembrance of an embodiment of this frequency of this human, right? More feminine, right? An alignment of all their chakras, utilizing all of this mastery to create heaven on earth. That's what this is about. All right, so lastly, we have the elephant in the room. We got to talk about that. Or the elephant and the crow or the raven. Crows and ravens, I know they're very different in size, but to me, they represent the same kind of energy. And so this is about, to me, elephants, though they have amazing memories and such, very intelligent and kind, they represent, in this painting, it is about African energy because I feel like that's where we started, right? We seated here in Africa. And we're going to kind of end there or begin there again. It's kind of like the cyclical, there's a lot of circles in this painting. It's the cyclical thing where Africa, it's very important. There's energy in Africa that's here to help us, period. All right, so we just can tap into that even consciously right now in this moment. You can feel it. It's really intense. It's beautiful. It's like the motherland. You can really feel that. And also with this elephant energy, it's about community. It's about really, when you really follow your authenticity and you find your voice and you're healthy and you're aware and you trust your intuition and you're who you are everywhere you go, you're going to naturally find your tribe and you're going to naturally find your place within the tribe. And that's what this is about, is kind of creating a new sense of community, an idea of how we can actually live together in harmony. And because we can't bring up the individual without really talking about the community, because having community is a basic need. And that is going to become stronger and stronger aspect of the things that we're teaching, Brenda and I are teaching and talking about as we move on, as we move through these next many years here. So kind of creating a new sense of community. And then the other idea here, so she's looking towards the ravens and the crows. So as much as you are belonging and working together within your community, it's also about really trusting your insight in the magic that's around us. So really being different. So working in harmony, which means there's some kind of synergy or kind of even overlaps of energy, but also being very different. So allowing yourself to be different too. So really allowing yourself to trust your own unique relationship with the divine. And it's meant to be different, meaning my connection with spirit is different than my sister's, and it's different than yours, and it's different than his and hers and whatever, because everybody has a unique language and song. Right? So in that way, we really are meant to kind of just trust ourselves and kind of allow ourselves to be different. So as much as we have to work together, it's also about still checking in and following our own rhythm and our own voice and our own intuition. Always. Always. One does not compromise the other. That is not harmony, right? Where one has to feel like you have to shut it down for the other to exist. That does not work. That's not going to be sustainable. It's actually a system that is naturally harmonic. It's a system that has a natural harmony to it. Symbiotic system of functioning. A reciprocal system of functioning. So here she is, and she has both on either side, and they kind of make up the whole. But she has to stand strong in who she is in this tree of knowledge, and it has to be her standing strong and kind of creating the sacred temple within, and this divine feminine temple within. Like, we need to get back in balance, and that's really what this month's message and painting is all about. It is this new energy that's available to us now, this new understanding of who we're becoming. And so remember to keep being flexible in our thinking, because we have to allow for impossible things to be possible, right? To allow us to move through life with grace and ease. So I really hope I love this painting. As of right now, this painting is available to purchase. Prints are always available, but the original is available as well. Let me know if you're interested. You could always email me here at this email address, or message us on any of our social medias. So much love to you. I can't wait to keep having these conversations. The energy is amazing, new and scary too. If you need help processing any of this stuff, we have retreats that helps kind of process how to do this, how to kind of create balance within your being, how to create a sacred temple within, how to love our shadow. All of those things we kind of do in our events, in our retreats that we have. So go to our website to kind of check that out. And anyways, I hope that you enjoyed it. Let me know what your thoughts are, and I will talk to you all soon. Namaste.